I got the loudest coffee maker in the world. Watch how loud this shit is.
Did you feed your grandma Play-Doh? How many times did I have to...
Good morning, BBs. It is too early.
It is.
Welcome to the first, best, and only morning show in existence. I'm Anthony Carboni.
And I'm Saige Ryan, and we have missed you.
We have missed you so much. We have so much news, including some stuff that just dropped that is wildly exciting. But first, Saige, I got kicked out of a movie theater last night.
Yeah, so I got a text that said I'm currently being escorted out of Morbius.
I went to see Morbius, the Living Vampire, with my very good movie club. We only see the very good movies together.
Okay.
We haven't. This is the first time we've seen a movie together since Sonic the Hedgehog, and I got kicked out of the Alamo Drafthouse for laughing too much at Morbius. Just too much.
Okay.
Not
laughing at all wasn't the problem.
I mean, I guess somebody thought it was. So, like, look, I'm a loud guy. We know this.
We know this. That's how I met you.
I'm a very loud guy. I have a very loud laugh. I know I have a very loud laugh because I used to get made fun of and I used to get in trouble for my laugh. And now that I am an old man, I love my laugh and I experience joy. But that being said, I know how loud my laugh is.
Yeah.
I know to be quiet in a movie theater. I've never been kicked out of anything in my life.
We almost got kicked out of Casablanca.
That's true. That's true.
At the same theater.
We did a couple giggles at Casablanca and we nearly got kicked out. Giggling?
No giggles allowed. Not in Casablanca.
So let's remind everybody that there are parts of Casablanca that are literally supposed to be funny. It's fine. I've never been kicked out of anything in my life, let alone a movie theater. And
You've never been kicked out of anything?
I've never been kicked out of anything.
Oh my God, I've been kicked out of so many things.
I'm a pretty well-behaved guy. You know, when I was a youth, I was on drugs a lot of the time, and so I didn't want to get kicked out of anywhere because I would get in trouble.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? I was worried about repercussions.
I wasn't on drugs, so I was getting kicked out of everything.
I have a very loud laugh. Whatever. The thing is, I was not laughing loudly. I laughed once very loudly at the beginning of Morbius. There is a part in the beginning of Morbius where he goes to pick up some vampire bats. He needs some vampire bats, and so he goes to pick some up. And I cackled very loudly once, and I caught myself, and I went, ooh, okay. All right. I gotta quiet down. So, but I was doing like a lot of these, like... Like a lot of... Here's what's up. We were in a group of like 7 people. We had almost an entire row at the Alamo. I was on one end of the row. I was so quiet. Not only did like my friend next to me heard me, and she was laughing as well. Nobody heard us from our friends. Nobody knew that I got kicked out. Somebody sitting close to me was just very into Morbius. Just extremely into the seriousness of Morbius.
Which definitely speaks more to them than to you, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. When the gentleman came over to kick me out, they come over with a printed note. Hold on. Here we go. We got a yellow card and a red card from the Alamo. My friend Amaris got the yellow card, and then I got the red card. So the guy comes to kick me out, and what they do is they literally just hand you this note quietly because it's the Alamo. And I'm like, and I look at it and I go, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
I go, yeah, okay.
Just throw down?
So I get my stuff, I get up, and as we're walking out, I was like, hey man, I'm leaving. I want you to know it's totally fine. I understand. But I also want you to know I was not talking. I was laughing, and I did laugh a lot. And he looked at me, and this guy from the Alamo looked at me, and he goes, no, believe me, I get that. I really do. But it's a policy, and so you have to. I was like, no, I'm not arguing. I'll go. I totally get it. I'm going. I had no problem being kicked out. Basically just because I was like, no, it's fair. If you're kicking me out for laughing, I was laughing.
Yeah, like I can't argue with that.
I can't argue with that. And not only can I not argue with that, I don't want to sit in a theater for another hour and a half.
And not be able to laugh at this.
And not be able to laugh at Morbius. Yeah. It was so funny. Like, it was so funny.
You want to do over? You want to go to the theater and see Morbius again?
I think I have to go to
a different theater.
I have to go to like an AMC, somewhere where they respect stupidity.
Exactly.
You know? Hey, here's the thing. I don't hate anything, really. I love basically all movies.
Okay.
You know that.
Yeah, sure. I hate plenty of movies.
And people are like, oh, well, you like them ironically, or you like them in like, oh, it's so bad it's good. No, I genuinely love every movie. I love every Fast and Furious movie.
I know.
I love every. I went and I saw
It's
Cats.
a flaw.
I saw Cats 9 times in the theaters.
Did you make it to 9?
No, I got 8 times. 8 times in the theaters.
It to 8.
I was genuinely just really enjoying Morbius.
As a comedy.
Morbius is a 2004, a perfectly crystallized, fossilized, and then reanimated and brought to life, much like a vampire, movie from 2004. It's exactly a movie from 2004. The way it's edited, all of the plot, all of the everything. It was beautiful. It was perfect. I was really enjoying Morbius. That's all I'm going to say. A lot of people, because here's the thing, I tweeted that I got kicked out of Morbius, and now I'm getting a lot of, it unfortunately kind of took off a little bit, and now I'm getting a lot of shit.
Yeah, of course.
You know, there are people that are like, there are people, number one, that are saying that I'm lying for clout about getting kicked out of Morbius, which is the most hilarious thing in the world. Can you imagine?
Getting kicked out of Morbius clout.
And then there are a lot of people that are like, well, this motherfucker is proud of being an asshole at a movie theater. And it's like, well, no. I'm surprised that I got kicked out of Morbius for laughing because it's literally the only screening of Morbius I think I've heard of where people were not laughing.
So,
and then number 2, I was doing the quiet giggles.
Right.
I'm allowed to quietly giggle.
You're absolutely allowed to quietly giggle. Here's what I'll say. When people ask me how we met, how we know each other, I say you were the loudest person at a screening of Cats.
Yes. In a very loud theater, mind you.
Yeah, absolutely. It was perfectly allowed to be loud.
Yeah.
But it was so distinctly identifiable which one Anthony was when I was introduced to him after the screening. I was like, oh, no. I get it. No. I know.
And now we're friends.
That's legitimately how we met.
That's how we met. I mean, look, people were asking, like, what's the story? There's not much of a story to it. That's basically the whole thing.
Yeah.
I was watching Morbius. I was enjoying Morbius. I was asked to please not enjoy Morbius anymore.
We'll go see it in a normal theater. All right, Let's get into the news, everyone, because we haven't given you news in a whole ass week.
Excuse me, I gotta stop right here. So there was one positive from the movie Cats then. You just listen, not in this house.
Not in this house. There is every positive from the movie Cats. That is a net gain.
In this house, we respect the film Cats.
Cats is the movie I have seen the most time in theaters ever. Of any movie ever.
God, it's so good. I was hoping that now that the Alamo's open, they would bring back rowdy screenings.
Yeah.
But I guess they just can't. Anyway.
Cats
news.
was the last good thing we ever had.
True.
Yeah, we've only been friends since 2019.
Yeah. Can you believe?
Hey, the pandemic also made all years longer. So
we've actually been friends for 1,000 years and across 8 dimensions.
Exactly.
I want to start off with this, Saige, because I want to see how you feel about it.
Okay.
Last week we heard that the digital and physical E3 for 2022 was canceled.
Yes.
Akeem, I love you, but I can't pause you, Akeem.
Oh my God. Can you just mute Akeem? There we go.
Okay. So they announced that E3 has officially been canceled, and a lot of people were immediately like, what are you doing? Always when we start a story, what are you doing? Perfect. E3 was getting canceled. E3, and everybody went, oh no, E3's dead, rip E3, E3's over, this is the end. How did you feel during this? Because I know
most of us have been saying it for a while.
Well, we've been saying it for a while. They definitely have not been as relevant as they were in the past, for sure.
Yeah.
But I also know that, like, it's a personal life goal of yours. You want to go to an E3.
So I have mixed feelings about it. Also, I will clarify, King Sassafras in the live studio audience asked what's E3, and for people outside of like our industry specifically, that's a totally valid question.
King Sassafras, are you being a little cheeky?
Either way, that's a totally valid question because there are probably plenty of people who aren't familiar with E3. E3 is a massive gaming convention, essentially. Electronics and games.
Yeah, it's the big one. It used to be the biggest thing in the world for games. It was the centralized, all the big news of the year came out at E3.
Right. So that was when you would get huge game announcements for the most part, would save them until E3.
But over the last few years, it's become less and less important as streaming has become more popular, as companies are able to run their own press events whenever they want. Yeah. A couple big things I think were the death of E3. I think the first big one was Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
Nintendo Direct really changed the way publishers and developers started talking to their audience. Number two was the Devolver parking lot party, which was Devolver couldn't afford an E3 booth, so they rented an entire parking lot across the street from E3 and did all of their stuff there. And once they did that, the real big thing was EA was like, we could do that.
We could do that. We could have our own party.
And then EA did their own thing, and then PlayStation pulled out, and then it's just become less of an important thing.
So E3, also as someone who works in games, is one of those like iconic events that everybody has like experiences and memories from, and I never got to go to an E3, and I've definitely had feelings about that. However, I also know that E3 has also been a cesspool. I do know that it has been a consistently like not safely regulated convention that involved in like dangerous scenarios for women for a long time and is not run as it should be.
Look, the games industry has a lot of problems, and when you put everybody in the games industry in one place, you're putting all those problems in one room.
And you have to work very, very hard to keep that safe, and they have not.
And then the ESA themselves, who run E3, have been a little inept about stuff. They have not been adjusting their rates to exhibit at E3 as E3 has become less important. They also, like Saige said, they've not been taking people's security seriously. There a couple years ago, the ESA just released everybody's email to everybody else.
Sweet.
It was very cool. Everybody in the industry's email all of a sudden became public.
Sweet.
Which is great in an industry where journalists are definitely not threatened every day of their lives. So, you know, and then of course, old school E3, we've talked about this before, super gross.
Yeah.
Super gross. It was literally just like old school business dude hooker and blow parties that made everybody uncomfortable except for the old dudes. And
even though we don't use those words anymore.
Yeah, but you know what? I'm using that as a term.
Yes.
So it became bad. Individual companies cleaned up their acts, because what happened is people within the industry, journalists within the industry, started covering these parties negatively.
Right. People were talking about having their drinks spiked at the parties.
So, you know, it's people were getting their drinks spiked. Women were walking into parties and just being talked to like harassed, like being talked to like they were hired dancers at the parties, which, by the way, there were like hired go-go dancers at E3 parties until like, and not like empowering cool retro go-go dancers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was bad. So it started cleaning itself up. By the time I started going to E3 in like 2012, 2013, it was that sort of thing was much better. But the industry itself was still very bad, and the event itself. I used to host PlayStation's big streams, their big like weekend long streams, and I was like, man, there is no reason Sony has to be here. There's no reason anybody has to be here.
Right. They
and
could
once
be doing
people
their own events.
once people start figuring this out, like this is a sinking ship. There is no reason that anybody needs to pay this amount of money.
So, back to the foundational story. E3 2022 was canceled, and when I saw this, I was in no way surprised. They're not doing a digital event either. That was a little more surprising.
They did that last year, and I think the issue was like they were still trying to make people pay to be part of E3 digital, and it's kind of like, no, we'll just live stream on our own, thank you. And so when they tried to put it together again this year, even fewer people wanted to be involved. They were just like, no, we didn't get anything out of last year. Call us when there's an actual event. And people were like, well, this is it. This is the death knell for E3.
Well, the ESA did respond to that, and they did confirm that E3 will supposedly be returning in 2023 with a reinvigorated showcase. They ensure that this is not the death of E3.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that they'll come. Maybe they'll come back. Here's what I think. I think it depends on how many years of their lease at LA Live they still have.
Yeah, that's a good
it.
point. If they sign a like probably multi-year deal that's still expanding, and they'll do showcases through that.
These conventions, there's a reason they're at the same place every year. They sign like decade-long deals. That's better for the city and it's better for the organization that's having the event. So if there are a certain number of years left on the ESA's lease, they're going to try to run that out because otherwise LA Live is going to take that money anyway if they back out of the contract. So we'll see, but I think the pandemic definitely ended E3 and I think it was going to end anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see what happens. I think personally my E3 dreams are dead. It doesn't mean that like I wouldn't go to an E3. It means I don't think it sits in the same place that it did.
No, I think
it's not going to be what it was either way.
Gamescom is still huge. Tokyo Game Show is still huge. And things like people have mentioned Keighley. Jeff Keighley's events have certainly taken the place. He was much more media savvy than the ESA. And you remember, like Keighley's thing started as the side thing to E3. He was very smart about it. He was like, no, you can hire me to do this little side thing. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And then it just became the Summer of Games, which is now way more relevant than E3 is. And then things like PAX and other stuff like that, companies are now making like legitimate announcements at PAX and showing games for the first time at events like PAX. So it's smaller, it's decentralized, and that's better for everyone because when you have the entire industry running on their hamster wheels, trying to have every big announcement, every big demo, everything ready to go for one weekend. It doesn't matter if you started the game 3 months ago, 8 months ago, 2 years ago, you have to show it at E3. And that turned into people working 20-hour days and crunching up until E3.
Right.
It's better this way.
It's interesting news. Let's talk about some games.
Let's talk about some games. Let's talk about how you're going to get all your games in the future.
Okay.
Talk about PS Plus. And I'm not saying PS Plus is how you're going to get all your games in the future.
Yeah, it's definitely not how I'm going to get all my games in the future. But
everybody is going for this all-you-can-eat subscription model now. Microsoft obviously has leaned heavily into it with Game Pass. Last week, Sony announced that PlayStation Plus, and we've talked about this. We said Sony could have done this first. Right,
and the fact that they didn't is a huge miss that they're going to be playing catch-up with for years and years.
Not could have done this first, but should have. They had more pieces in place.
Yep.
Because they had PS Now, they had all this other stuff, and they just didn't do it. No, well, now that Microsoft's done it, they have to do it. So PlayStation Plus is now becoming 3 tiers of PlayStation Plus. If you haven't heard, there's the Essential, something else, and then the Platinum. And basically, the Platinum is like $15 a month, and it is their Games Pass Ultimate competitor. And what you're going to get is about 400 titles that you can download and play anytime. PS5 titles, PS4 titles, obviously, but also PS1 and 2 titles, which I thought was very interesting.
That's the big appeal for me.
Yeah. And then PS3 titles, you're going to be able to stream through what used to be PlayStation Now.
Right.
Which no one was using. But the PS3 is a very hard system to emulate. I'm sure they want to get it to the point where the PS3 titles can be downloaded and played locally. But that's going to be a little more complicated. They've already done stuff like this. They have like the PlayStation Collection where when you join PlayStation Plus, you get like that 15 or 20 games.
Yeah.
One day you'll plug in your PlayStation, you'll turn it on, you'll see there's a
They've been doing that for a while.
Yeah,
though.
there's a PlayStation Plus Collection. You can get like a bunch of their larger games, your Uncharted's and whatever. They mentioned some interesting things about it. And they've given some more details because people had a lot of questions. Jim Ryan went on the official PlayStation podcast, and good get for them. How'd they get Jim Ryan?
On the official
on
PlayStation
the official
Plus.
PlayStation. Woo! Jim Ryan went on the PlayStation podcast and talked about sort of what's different about them and Game Pass, sort of what their goals are and what you're going to see. The number one thing that they said is you're not going to see day one releases. Not like every Microsoft first party game is on Game Pass
Day one.
Immediately, day one. But Jim Ryan was saying, hey, I think that's a bad idea. I think our studios work really hard. These games are really expensive, and I think it devalues them to release this on the first day, which is definitely like a swing at Uncle Phil.
It is definitely a swing, and that's very complicated because all things are oppressive under capitalism. So it's like, yeah, sure, I can actually see how that does for game developers as well. But then also from a consumer side, access to games becomes continually more and more unreachable. So just because you're expanding how much you spend on a game doesn't mean that consumers have more money to spend on games.
Right. And you eventually you're going to hit a cap of number of people who will subscribe. And then you've got a cap of how much money this service makes every month. That's how long can Microsoft be releasing? I mean, this is something we've been asking.
Right.
How long can Microsoft be releasing these giant first day titles and taking the hit on this?
Yeah, you can't help but wonder if they're movie passing it, but they're such a big company that there's clearly a larger plan, Well, that's the big thing that people are talking about is the difference between Microsoft money and Sony money. Yep.
Right? Like, Sony's got a lot of money. They're a big company for sure.
Microsoft money.
Yeah, people forget how big Sony is just because of Sony Pictures. Go see Morbius in theaters now. Sony Pictures, Sony Electronics, all of this stuff comes together, and Sony Music is still a big thing. They're making a lot of money, but Microsoft is just like fliff.
Yeah.
They're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Their whole deal with Game Pass is we just want to outlast everybody else.
Right.
And become the service. We'll see how that works for them. But, so number one is no first day titles. But number two, and the big thing was, he said all of the big games that aren't first day releases, all of the big names and the big titles that you expect to see will be there. He name-checked Returnal. He name-checked Death Stranding, both of the Spider-Man games. He talked about Mortal Kombat 11.
Those are not new games.
They're not new.
Stuff. And obviously we're not talking about day one, but like, he's really reaching back and like, but remember you liked playing this on the PlayStation.
Yeah, I think that's the trick is what's the window? Because here's the thing. They are already saying they want you to buy games.
Yeah.
So for them, it doesn't really matter that these games are a year old. What they're betting on is that there's a group of people who buy a few games that are really important to them, but want to play everything.
And that's a very small group.
I think so.
I think that's a very small group because if you think about it, for instance, if you spend $15 a month, right, which is comparable to Game Pass pricing.
Yeah.
How much is that per year?
They said it's $15.99 a month. I forget how much it is if you buy it for the year. I forget. I'll look up the pricing.
Okay, great. So if you think about that and you're somebody who would have spent that amount on a few individual games, if you're somebody who does the Death Strandings, who does the Returnal, those like few larger games, you're only going to buy a few of those realistically probably a year if you're not like a very, very avid gamer.
Yeah.
Right? And you're inherently probably going to want to play them early on. There's a smaller group of people that'll go, hey, I never played that. I might as well. But like the difference between the money spent per year to get games after the fact when they're like, it's like a subscription to the $2 theater instead of a subscription to an AMC theater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it's, if you're the sort of person that only plays a few games a year, you're only looking forward to a few big games a year. You want to play them when your friends are playing them.
Exactly.
Especially now that everybody is moving towards games as a service. Sony has like 10 service games in the works right now that are coming out over the next couple of years.
Right.
10 service games.
I just can't imagine paying $15 a month, whatever that adds up to for the year, whatever their deal is for the year, to only play an older library of games. It has to be a combination of both.
So yeah, you have to, some stuff has to be day one. And I wonder if they're hoping that their partners, indie developers, third party, will fill that gap. But there's a danger there for them because you remember during PS4, there was that whole thing about Sony where it's like, Sony's not releasing enough games. This is just like some weird little indie game machine. And I don't think of that as pejorative.
Love indie games.
But a lot of people do.
Right.
I bought the big boy console to play the big boy games. I don't want to play these little $15 games, these little $20 games.
And if
I
you
want
spent
the
that
big
much,
first party games.
Right. And if you spent that much on hardware that is specifically built to be able to run these impressive larger studio games, I can also understand feeling a little bit like they didn't live up to that expectation if you've only been playing indie games that could run on pretty much anything.
Yeah. Especially mid-generation, you got the PS4 Pro. It's like, look at all this extra power. And it's like, for what? The Last of Us and then 14 adorable indie games? That's what I bought it for. But, it's not everybody.
Right.
So the three tiers are PS Plus Essential, which is the same PlayStation Plus we have now. It basically is cloud saves, multiplayer, 2 free games a month, and then discounts. And that's going to stay the same price. It's going to be $9.99 a month, or if you pay up front, it's going to be $60 a year. PS Plus Extra gives you the additional bonus PS5 and PS4 games. This is going to be 400 at one time. They're going to be rotating out, but there will be 400 at any given time. PlayStation 4 and 5 games. You download them to your console. You play them locally. This is where you're going to see your Death Strandings, God of War, Spider-Man, that sort of stuff. And that's $14.99 a month or $99 a year. Now, the one they want you to buy is PlayStation Plus Premium, which is $17.99 a month or $119.99 a year. So $20 more than the mid-tier, right? The mid-tier is there to upsell you on this tier.
Right.
And this is the essential stuff, the PS4 and 5 games, but also PS1, PS2, and PSP games, an additional library, up to like 400 of those at a time, that you can download and play locally on your PlayStation 5, and PS3 games that you can stream. It's going to take over the place of PlayStation Now. It's not a bad deal.
The way I see it, though, is that's $120 a year for most people that are not on games that they would have purchased anyways. And that's the best pitch for Game Pass is, well, a lot of these you were probably going to buy anyways, and so you are saving money when doing Game Pass. I don't think that this current setup saves money. It just gives you like, oh, well, I mean, I'll get access to more games, but most of them were not games that you were going to go back and buy at this point.
How attractive is the backwards compatibility to you?
The backwards compatibility is the most attractive part to me. I wish that was available at a lower tier
and
without the new shit.
And they know that.
Because I don't care about it. Like, if I'm not going to play Death Stranding at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should. That guy, he walks. And
I heard there's a baby.
And it's wet.
Gross.
And he's trying to walk.
Icky.
But
I don't think it's $120 a year.
But they know that's where their strength is.
Right.
They know that's the big sell is the backwards compatibility, the old library. But I don't know, man. It's
like in the way that, Nintendo is doing the older game releases, as much as I would love for them to release more of them a little bit quicker, like that's more appealing to me. even then, it's like, look, I love some PS2 games, but like, it's not as appealing. I agree. Thank you very much. That was driving me absolutely bananas.
I saw that driving you bananas.
Thank you very much. The backwards compatibility library of like Nintendo is much more appealing to me and at a much lower cost.
I mean, Nintendo knows that all they need to offer is the backwards compatibility. There is something interesting. I've got a completely separate beef with the Nintendo expansion pass. We can put a pin in it, but I'll say this. My biggest beef with the Nintendo expansion pass is, fine, make this library available to people who have the membership. I think a membership library is great. If I want to pay a premium to just buy a few of those games, I want to be able to do that.
You want to be able to have an online store where you could just pick up a game.
If I just want Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
And I don't want the Nintendo expansion pass, I'll pay you for Ocarina of Time. I'll probably pay you like half of what you'd get from me for expansion pass. You know what I mean? But I understand that that's, because for me, these subscriptions, these memberships, all this nickel and diming is adding up. We've talked about this 100 times.
Yeah.
I only want to spend so much money a month for stuff that I'm not touching.
I understand, but for instance, the Nintendo expansion pack is $50 a year.
Yeah.
That's less than half of this PlayStation Premium one. And if you're on a family plan, which god damn, y'all, if you can get on a Nintendo family plan, it's very easy and very cost effective.
Can I be on your family plan?
Probably.
Okay, let's do that.
I'm on a family plan.
Oh, okay.
But that's probably doable. But like that makes it so much more cost effective too. One person does something, like has the family plan. Whoever is at the front of it, you buy it once and everyone gets access to it.
And like we said, there's a good economic model to the Nintendo expansion pass in that DLC. They're doing something that other people aren't doing, which is including DLC day one. And that's something you're not going to see from Sony or Microsoft. One thing that when you look at Game Pass is if you want to play a game on Game Pass, you're more than welcome to, but it will not have any DLC.
Right.
So I'm wondering how Sony's going to handle that as well. Some of the games in the PlayStation Collection do have DLC. Like if you play the Final Fantasy 15, the Kingsglaive edition, it comes with like everything.
Yeah, if PlayStation Plus Premium also included things like, hey, you don't necessarily get these new games, but you will get access to all DLC for these games, I think that could add to the value of it a lot. But right now it does not have the value for me of $120 a year.
Another thing that happened regarding this, I think this is so funny. Somebody in the live studio audience was asking about, hey, what happens if I have a membership already? Can I upgrade? Yeah, they're going to allow upgrades and things like that. One of the most interesting things is that they're converting all PlayStation Now memberships, that remaining PlayStation Now memberships, which PlayStation Now I think is $60 a year. They're converting them all to highest tier PlayStation Plus memberships. So what happened over the weekend was everybody was buying PlayStation Now memberships.
Yeah.
They were buying PlayStation Now memberships at $50, stacking them for 6 years, and Sony has to convert them to PlayStation Premium. Now, by the time I heard about this,
it was over.
Sony had removed it from the store. You can no longer. PS Now cards don't exist anymore.
Wow.
You can't buy them anywhere. You can't get them off of Amazon. The codes don't exist anymore. But everybody was jumping online and basically just buying. That's new. And basically just buying these PS Now cards because you can get it for $60 a year instead of $120. That's half price for 6 years. People just got because they stack for that long.
That's great.
I love that.
That's very clever. Take money from big corporations.
I'm already part of PlayStation Plus, but I don't play enough stuff online on PlayStation Plus anymore. I used to play a lot of
PlayStation Plus.
For what?
Honestly, Until Dawn.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I played it on PC. But I had to, it was like a PlayStation exclusive that I had to do through their fucking like PC routing bullshit. It was a pain in the ass. But I haven't canceled it.
Yeah, I have mine because I used to play a lot of Destiny. The games that they offer every month are good. And if you want to grab like 2-3 games a month, they usually offer decent stuff. But I haven't been on my PlayStation as much, and I'm wondering if I still need that. because I've already got the Game Pass, and I'll tell you what, I don't know that I'm using Game Pass enough.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be using Game Pass more.
Same. I agree.
But anyway, that's what's going on. I'm a little worried about this. Everybody moving to all you can eat. I'm a little worried about these all you can eat plans and everybody moving to them.
Yeah.
It's usually in the long term bad for developers, bad for consumers, and bottoms out the market in a really weird way.
Right.
So we'll see. We'll see if it manages to do that.
We'll give you an update in a year.
Yeah.
Let's talk about more games, shall we? An exciting trailer dropped early this morning that people on Twitter are absolutely ablaze about from Devolver Digital, which is... let's do it on yours for a sound. You want to...
Oh, yeah. We can do that for sound.
You want it?
We can do that for sound.
There's a bit of sound.
Let's do it for sound. This is a huge deal. I got very excited by this for a couple reasons.
Oh, wait. Sound don't work.
Oh, sound no work?
Remember? Sound never work. Maybe with the update it'll work.
Yeah. I mean, let's see.
I did a little OBS update. Maybe things work again. Probably
not. This frame rate is our fault, not the trailer's fault.
Good for us.
But number one, Lucasfilm Games.
Uh-huh.
And number two...
Nope.
Ron Gilbert.
Now, Ron Gilbert had specifically said that he would never make another Monkey Island game until he owned it. He was like, I'm not doing this again until it's mine.
He did not leave Lucasfilm under great conditions. He and Tim Schafer both didn't leave under the best of times. And over the last few years, he's definitely not just harbored a resentment over it. I don't want to minimize it to that, but he created a beautiful thing for a corporation and then was not allowed to run that thing the way he wanted to.
Right.
And we've seen a couple remakes of Monkey Island. Telltale Games famously did a couple episodes of Monkey Island and things like. It's not like Monkey Island hasn't been around.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been Ron. And you've always been able to tell.
Yes.
You've always been able to tell. And also, Lucasfilm had very little to do with those. They basically licensed out Monkey Island to Telltale and was like, go ahead, do a Monkey Island.
Sure, do whatever.
We'll take some money from it.
Have a good time, champ.
Having them be much more hands-on and having Ron at the helm is a huge, huge, huge deal. A huge deal.
Yeah, absolutely. This is very exciting. I love how excited people are about it, and all of the comments on YouTube were very, very supportive in the statement that Ron had kept saying, I'm never doing another Monkey Island until I own it. If I could get my hands on the IP, I would absolutely make another, but...
You know the Pirates of the Caribbean story, right? Pirates of the Caribbean, the first movie, started off as a Monkey Island script.
That's right.
It was almost a Monkey Island movie, and then they turned it into the Pirates of the Caribbean because
they had the ride.
Ride
came first.
They had the ride, and also they didn't want any backlash or blowback or anything like that, and it was more recognizable to people. But when you watch that movie, you're like, yeah, that's Orlando Bloom as Guybrush Threepwood. He's playing Guybrush Threepwood. So
great name.
It's pretty rad that Ron's back in charge of that, and we'll see what comes of it. I mean, we know that it's coming. We know that it's coming this year. That's all we know. Devolver is announcing it as follow-up to Secret of Monkey Island and Monkey Island 2: LeChuck's Revenge, meaning none of the newer stuff counts. Just the two that Ron made.
Nice.
And this is number 3.
Incredible.
I'm into it.
Truly, I love that.
I'm into it.
Let's keep talking about games. Let's talk about Hyper Light Drifter.
My boys.
Hyper Light Breaker.
My sweet, sweet, sweet babies over at Heart Machine Z have announced a follow-up to Hyper Light Drifter. It's a fully 3D co-op game set in the world of Hyper Light Drifter, but not a sequel. They've specifically said this is not a sequel or prequel. This is not about the Drifter. It is simply in the same world. This animated trailer is so good.
This is beautiful. I loved this trailer. I didn't play Hyper Light Drifter.
Oh, it's so good.
But goddamn, do I love this trailer.
I think you'd really like Hyper Light Drifter.
Phenomenal.
I think you would really enjoy it.
I really also appreciate when games companies do go for the approach of I'm going to create a world that is not limited to sequels and prequels.
So here's a little bit. That's all we got of in-game, which is enough because people were like, whoa, it's 3D.
It's pretty.
It's very nice. So, they just finished up Solar Ash over at Heart Machine. Great game if you haven't played Solar Ash yet. And they're approaching, they said that they didn't want to take a huge break. They wanted to jump right into something. And they said that they didn't want to do a prequel sequel. They just wanted to keep the aesthetics and lore because they really did create something that resonated with people.
Yeah.
And then going 3D was just, I think it's just a natural evolution. I think they kind of always wanted to. The pixel art in Drifter was amazing.
Yeah.
Alex and the other artists did an unbelievable job. But Solar Ash is also incredibly beautiful. Like, they make 3D just as beautifully as they make 2D. And so they're saying that you can play alone or online with friends cooperatively.
Which I love.
We love online co-op.
That's great. I'm in favor of any game that can be multiplayer should be multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I love games as a social experience. That's great for me.
It's going to be good. So make sure you're keeping an eye on them because early access should be coming soon. We don't have a date yet, but I want to be playing it day one.
Yeah.
In other game release news, Nino Kuni's back, baby.
It's true. I can't click on this article because Rock Paper Shotgun's website is all fucked.
Nino Kuni Crossworlds, a PC and mobile spinoff to Nino Kuni, is coming out over here this summer.
How do you feel about PC and mobile releases?
It's interesting. It used to have a connotation of
it not being much of a game.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I think like bigger releases like Genshin have turned me around on that.
Okay. All right.
Depends on the game. I think for an RPG especially, it makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, you don't need as much like touch controls for an RPG, totally fine.
Wow. Our frame rates on these NDI sources are just one.
It's 1 per second.
Kind of.
Literally 1 frame.
You can have one.
Of course,
good.
Nino Kuni is the collaboration between Level 5. Woof.
Yeah, that's why I went away.
No, but I mean, I wanted to show a little bit of the gameplay because
I don't know if that counts.
I know people are curious, but that's got to be the Rock Paper Shotgun player. Yeah, they're doing one of those things where they have like a skin over YouTube.
Yeah, it's rough. And also, even when I pause my ad block, I can't see it. They're like, you have an ad block. I'm like, it's not on.
It's not on. Yeah, but you have it. Anyway, this is going to be basically, it looks very much like it has the structure of like other mobile RPGs. It looks like you're going to be doing like a lot of grinding, a lot of dailies.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of daily battles and quests and keeping up with your chores. There we go. Get it from the source.
Yeah, pretty.
I mean,
both of us just
just the Ghibli of it all, you know?
Yeah, right?
I gotta say, is there gacha in the game? That I don't know yet.
They don't usually put that in the announcement. They're not like, and by the way, this is gonna suck. Here's what I will say. PC and mobile, very, very commonly connected to some sort of gacha system.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only drawback right now for PC and mobile releases is the likelihood of that being the case. Can't speak to that though yet.
If not for characters, then for loot for sure.
Yeah. My assumption is there will be something. Like Genshin.
Oh, so good. I love the look of a Ni no Kuni. I'll tell you what, I love the first one. The second one didn't grab me as much because they made some combat changes and some other changes that
So deeply.
were very kind of gave it a different vibe. But man, the aesthetics of it'll get me in every time. You can't front on Ghibli character and world designs.
Yeah, to me, it's a Ghibli Final Fantasy. And that's great. Skywalker asked what gacha is. Gacha is a shortened version of gachapon. Gachapon being the like large machines that you would like put money in and hope for something to come out. In games, that manifests as like you can pay for a certain number of loot boxes or something like that, and you don't know what you're gonna get. But
For this many,
for something cool.
For this many gems, you get to open a box that contains potentially characters that you want, or potentially the
Characters
80th
you already have.
the 80th version of a weapon that you already have.
Yeah.
It's gambling, and I have fallen prey to it many a time. I'm not proud. I'm not proud. Elden Ring.
Elden Ring. Most of my friends are finally at the end of it.
I have not played much Elden Ring.
Yeah.
I'm shocked and surprised at myself. But Tunic. But Tunic just speaks to me. I haven't had much time for games, but when I do, I'm thinking about Tunic all the time.
Yeah.
I do want to jump into Elden Ring, and man, it's time because people are doing stuff. They're doing everything.
They really are doing everything. There have been a couple of interesting things. And as we're in this, like, what are we, 3 weeks out from release? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
From that Elden Ring release?
Yeah.
We're starting to get people that are not only playing the game, but doing special things. One, of course, was a first run through, all the way through, world's first no hit or damage Elden Ring run.
No hit or damage.
They did not get hit or damaged. This is from Seki, who goes by @SekiroShadow, Sekiro Shadow, on Twitter, and they posted this screenshot here.
Dude,
from their
not just no hit, but no damage. That means no fall damage, no environmental damage, no a little poison puff didn't pop into the sky and get him. Nothing. No damage, no hits, all of Elden Ring.
That's incredibly impressive.
What?
Absolutely wild. I have no idea how that works. As somebody who's watched a good bit of Elden Ring at this point, I literally do not understand. I cannot fathom the technical possibility of that.
Literally any From Software game to not get hit once.
How?
To have a total no-hit run. And that's not the wildest part.
Somehow it isn't.
There was another run that happened over the week.
Trying to find
Pacifist run.
A completely pacifist, no damage dealt run all the way through of Elden Ring. I have too many tabs open, and I opened this one up somewhere, and I've only got like half of it. But we'll just go from here. This is from @IronPineapple on Twitter. And they said, can you beat Elden Ring without attacking? And the answer was yes, somehow.
I don't even understand that. I don't even get it.
Also, this could be spoilers for the ending of Elden Ring, just so you know.
Yeah, that definitely, don't show that.
Okay.
That definitely, don't show that part. Yeah, it's...
you say after the fact.
Oh, I just saw it pop up. It's okay, it didn't show, it was gonna show something, but it didn't. I don't even get it. How do you pacifist run this game? That's wild.
I really want to show this ending screenshot, but I know that it's a spoiler. I just want to show their character.
Their character is very good.
Here we go. This is their character build that I just...
I love it. Everybody just makes the dumbest little beans. And I love watching the dumbest little beans run to victory.
So good.
Look at that. Look at that gym coach of a man.
The saddest little gym coach.
The saddest little gym coach.
My favorite children's book, The Sad Little Gym Coach.
So there you go. If you have not picked up Elden Ring, it is clearly time to pick up Elden Ring because everybody's Elden Ringing.
Everybody's Elden Ringing it. And everybody's about to be done Elden Ringing.
So done. Like, completely done.
Yeah. Like, done with their regular runs and then going back through for, like, special runs. It's wild.
But here's the thing. Like, I'd love to jump into some Elden Ring today.
Uh-huh.
But I can't because there was another game release over the week that unfortunately is going to take up some of my time today. Hidden Palace. That beautiful, beautiful bastion of betas, unreleased games, demos you've never seen, has just added Gex Jr.
Yeah, we gotta play this.
Gex Jr. was a thing that nearly happened. You can't hear him.
Oh, man.
But he's Gexing.
You know what?
What?
God, the audio would be so good. It's such a bummer.
The audio is such an important, like...
You're going to pick it up on my mic.
It's so Gex. The last bit is the most Gex bit ever.
And yes, Regis, that is my final answer.
What?
This is the most Gex that anything's ever been. If you're not familiar with Gex, one of the best videos to watch, I think, is Donkey's video where he plays Gex 3D.
Mm-hmm.
Gex was just the height of all mascot characters.
Yeah.
When everything had to be a wisecracking mascot, he was the most wisecracking of all the mascots.
The most wisecracking, the most mascot.
Oh my God. He was voiced by Dana Gould, this comedian, and everything he said was like a joke about 90s celebrities.
Incredible.
Like, I haven't been this drunk since I swam in Keith Richards' pool. Like, he would say shit like that. Like in the middle of a video game. It's amazing.
So this was from January. This is dated as the demo being made by Image Builder, January 25th, 2001. This was a PS1 prototype. It's available right now on archive.org for download. I will drop actually a link to this trailer, which has the archive link in the description in the It's Too Early channel in our Discord. If you're not in our Discord, get in there. It's free.
What a wild time in video games. What a wild time. You always look back and you're like, oh, when people look back on the last, 5-10 years of video games, they're going to be like, oh, this decade was all about, the online multiplayer battle, like asymmetric battle stuff, the battle royale stuff. When you look at like the late 90s to the early 2000s, it was just horrible cartoon mascots doing the worst open mic bits. And Gex was the most of them all. He was the most beautiful of us all, and his flame burned out too soon. And I'm so sad we did not get Gex Jr.
I mean,
it's literally just Gex with a hat on backwards.
Yeah, that's it, and a higher pitched voice.
Yeah, they lost Dana Gould, apparently. Dana Gould was like, no, I'm good with that. I don't need to do another Gex, thanks.
That's so funny. I love this art style because this is, PS1 kids games, based on the age demographic I am, PS1 kids games were my kids games.
Oh yeah.
Perfectly timed. And I love this. For some reason, the world that it's set in distinctly reminds me of, and fellow people of my age range, come with me on this. There's a very specific Rugrats. Wow.
Rugrats.
I can't get the word out.
Rugrats in Paris.
There is a very specific Rugrats game that I'm thinking of, and it's not the Rugrats in Paris game. But I recall that they're at some kind of amusement park. Do you know what I'm talking about? And you collected tickets and sodas and shit like this?
Reptar Park.
Yeah.
I remember this.
What fucking game is that?
I remember this.
Regret.
A regret.
I regret to inform you.
No regrets.
Search for Reptar. Is that what it was called?
Could have been.
That was my fucking jam as a kid. I played that game over and over and over again.
I love the PS1 aesthetic. I also love that the PS1 aesthetic is becoming it's taking the place of pixel art as the new indie thing.
Yeah, and it was PS1.
I love that. I love that so much. I do want to bring up, this reminded me of something. We are very close to the next E3 If you're not familiar with E3, E3 is Haunted PS1.
Oh, it was in Paris.
This is the Haunted PS1 video game showcase. If you go to itch.io and you look up Haunted PS1 games, this is an entire genre of horror games that are done in the PS1 aesthetic.
Yes.
I love it. I love low poly horror. It's such, to me, like this is what the PS1 this is what the PS1 means.
Yeah.
These bad renders, the low poly, the spooky jump scares. But E3 is when they announce all of the very good indie PS1 themed horror games that are coming. And it usually happens right around E3.
You got all one frame again.
I got all of one frame of these dancing skeletons.
What a gift. For them, it's not quite dancing.
Of these posing skeletons.
Right.
But yeah, so check out Haunted PS1. If you haven't played any of that stuff, it's very good.
This is the game I was referring to. It is Rugrats in Paris, the movie, the game.
Rugrats in Paris, the movie, the game. I love it. Based on the novel Push
And
by
it was on
Sapphire.
N64 and PlayStation 1. Now I want to
Did
play
they
it.
Did they stretch that, or did they have a widescreen hack going? It looks like they just stretched it. I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't look particularly stretched.
It's hard to tell with PS1 stuff. So there you go. Play Gex Jr. Play Rugrats, the movie, the game.
That's what I'm going to do with the rest of my day.
I've got a very cool announcement about Capcom.
Tell me about Capcom.
Capcom, and we love to see this. Normally it's like, this is about Capcom and employee salaries. And normally you go, okay.
Oh God, okay, big company and salaries. Those words are
what
scary.
Are we gonna do? Capcom is raising the average employee salary by 30% across the board.
That's fantastic. This is your reminder, everybody, that if you are not getting a yearly raise, you are getting a pay cut.
Not only a raise, but a raise that is higher than the rate of inflation. You can't just get a 5% raise. You have to get a 7% raise to be making more than you made last year. And companies
To be making even like what you made.
Yeah, companies hate that. They hate that. They're like, well, we're giving you a 3% cost of living increase. That's not a cost of living increase. That's a cost of living decrease. Anyway, Capcom said, we're going to raise the average employee salary by 30% and introduce a new bonus structure tied to overall company business performance. They're also establishing a new chief human resources officer role. They basically are saying, like, we want to stop the talent drain that happens in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that people who are creative, who make wonderful things, want to stay at Capcom. Very famously, people who are creative and make wonderful things do not want to stay at Capcom. Very famously, they want to leave and start their own stuff. Does that go well? At least they're not working for Capcom.
Right.
So this is a huge, huge deal. They're saying, driven by its philosophy of being a creator of entertainment culture that stimulates your senses. There's a lot of, I want to show you how that's capitalized. There's a lot of corporate speak in that.
Stimulates your senses. Yikes.
That's such a weird
What
capitalization.
senses?
I don't know.
Which ones? Plural?
Probably two of them.
Multiple senses?
Sight and sound, at least.
Why sound?
Because games have sound. It's multimedia, baby.
Sure. Yes. Sure. They make games that do
They
that.
want to
but-
make games that smell.
But it's a philosophy of being a creator of.
They want when you put a Capcom game in your mouth, they want you to taste all of the savoriness of it.
It's like one of those little cartridges from that Switch.
Yeah. Capcom was going to work to address the issues facing our society while aiming to improve its corporate value and establish a relationship of trust with our employees and stakeholders.
All right.
Yeah. Capcom's human resources will be reorganized around 4 departments in order to continue creating high-quality AAA titles sustainably.
Mm-hmm.
R&D Human Resources Department, Health and Productivity Management Department, People Strategy Team, and Human Resources Department. The health and productivity management one is the important one. I think the people in that department are going to be the department with the toughest job ahead of them, because it is their job to make sure the employees are not suffering from that crunch.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to have to be the ones that have to sell that to the rest of the company. Capcom's managed to hit its stride. Like, Capcom a few years ago was not doing incredibly well, and now between Resident Evil 2 and 3, Devil May Cry 5, Monster Hunter, they have record sales and profits, higher than they've had in forever. And they want to stay on top, and I think that's really great. Bandai Namco also announced that they're going to increase pay by 50,000 yen per month. That's $500 a month. Mm-hmm. So that is a cost of living increase. That's a genuine cost of living increase across the board for everybody.
Yup.
It's lovely to see this. Hey, United States of America.
The fuck?
The fuck? Anyway,
speaking of the fuck, a while back we talked about Twitch creating a feature called Boost. They pitched it as, please don't do a spit take, not in my studio. They talked about this feature in being that you would be able to support your creators. You would be able to pay to essentially advertise their stream and get it potentially with enough boosts up to the homepage of Twitch.
Which, if you just take that top line, you're like, oh, that's lovely. I'll support the streamer that I love. Oh, except, hey, who's going to be boosting and getting boosted?
The biggest streamers who have the largest communities, therefore the most people to potentially boost them to the front page. Naturally, that makes sense. It A, was not sensible, and B, it was encouraging, because Twitch hates that streamers get donations that go straight to them and don't come to Twitch. They fucking hate it. They said, spend that money on subs, spend it on bits, spend it on boosts. And creators got absolutely nothing of boost money.
Nope.
Absolutely zero.
They got paid in exposure.
Right. It's almost like streamers can't pay their rent and exposure. And in this working pretty much exactly as well as we expected that it was. The boost feature has been paused after porn sneaks onto the front page, and it was straight up porn. It was not like,
hey,
I can't show it on here, actually.
Bless. Whoever gamed this system, bless. Because I'll tell you what, the content was icky, but you did the thing. You showed exactly what this system is.
Yeah.
You showed exactly what this system is. Pay to get anything on the front page of Twitch? Okay. Let's see how that goes for you.
Yeah. So, they have taken this down to reevaluate, and I hope just gone forever.
No, it's going so well.
Yeah.
No, bring it back. No. Pay to get on the front page.
Come back and pay to get on the front page.
Go ahead. Why not? Why not? And the next step, that the next step was going to be Twitch trying to message out. Over time, this system turns into Twitch messaging out like, hey, if you believe in your stream, why don't you invest in yourself? What you do, oh, how do I get bigger numbers? Oh, what you do is you pay for like a little bit of a boost, and then when people see your quality content, no, you boost the content.
You boost the content.
You boost the creators that deserve boosting.
Because here's the thing. Twitch's value, everything that Twitch is valued for, is the content the creators are making, that Twitch is not funding or paying for.
Nope.
Twitch is taking money from. And yes, they host the site that we stream on. Hi, we're here right now. But the lack of discoverability, the lack of access to communities, the lack of control over my content, the lack of simply percentage negotiation on how much of my money they take on a monthly basis for people who directly come to the site and choose to support the content I make is unfathomably imbalanced.
This is on Twitch? People can see this?
Yeah. I know. I'm sorry. I should have said something earlier. Hi, Mom. Oh, shit, I'm on TV.
Dude, the amount that Twitch nickels and dimes right now, like, honestly, not just taking 50% of everything that a streamer makes, fine. It's a 50-50 split. platform holder, content creator. 50-50 is better than you get on most platforms.
No, it's not.
Zeigesund, fine. It's certainly way better than you would get on YouTube or something like that.
There's still more money in YouTube.
I mean, there's more money, but the percentage is not the same.
The percentage is not comparable because there is a difference between the subscriber split, which is actually better for people who are streaming on YouTube. The subscriber split is actually better. Because there's those like super subscribes now essentially that are like essentially the exact same thing as a Twitch subscription. The split on that is negotiable and better on YouTube, but there is less of a market for live streamed content on YouTube. Ad revenue is not comparable.
There you go. So the split is the split. You take the split. But on top of that, the wild amount of advertisement, the insane amount of advertisement. You click from one channel to another, you immediately get another ad. Within 15 seconds, you click on a channel, you're like, oh, I don't like this channel. Let me check on this other channel. Cool, there's another ad. Click away again, there's another ad.
Unskippable ads.
Their amount of ads per minute or per hour is fucking insane.
And if you are to compare, for instance, what a creator gets on an ad rolling on their Twitch stream versus what a creator gets an ad rolling on their YouTube video, Twitch is significantly worse.
Twitch is destroying on ads. Twitch is like the amount of listen, CPMs are bad everywhere, but CPMs on Twitch, on YouTube you get maybe like $1 for 1,000 ad views if you're lucky. On Twitch you're talking about a nickel, you're talking about dimes. And so for this boost thing, this is just the wild. They are making money hand over fist, and if they're not, they need to look at how they're running their company.
Yeah. So Tetsuan Adam asked,
Astro Boy,
what are the best ways to give directly / the most to creators? A lot of creators take it off platform. We, for instance, have like a Patreon. That's another way. Or directly through donations, which our donation widget was hidden.
Oh, look at that.
I didn't notice.
Oh.
Donations are something that goes directly to a creator. Generally, all they lose is PayPal transaction fees, which will just be like I think it's like a 3% or a 5%
it's like a
or
credit
something
card
like
processing fee, basically.
Yeah, so I think they lose about 5% there, but usually direct donations are the best way, or if people are promoting their Patreon, Fan House, OnlyFans, etc., whatever their platform is off of Twitch is generally a more direct way to support creators.
Yeah, which by the way, with things like Patreon and stuff like that, Patreon takes their cut as well. All these platforms take their cut.
But they're not as big as Twitch is.
It's not like Twitch though.
Yeah.
Which by the way, hey, look at that. This is our goal for the month.
It's a new month.
It's a new month. We have a new goal. This money goes directly to the hosts that you see on screen. Anything on Pixel Service. We're the Pixel Service. We're going to deliver your pixels to you.
Yeah.
Anything on Pixel Circus you see that is donation basically goes directly to the talent. Anything that's like a subscription or like that, a subscription, a Patreon sub, anything like that goes to the network so we can run the overall infrastructure of the network. Dagger's cut is less than he deserves. He deserves everything.
That's true.
Literally everything. I'm not out of Elden Ring news.
You're not out of Elden Ring news?
Can you believe?
Okay.
I forgot about this one very good piece of Elden Ring news.
All right.
Somebody made an Elden Ring mod for Tekken. Will you bring it up? Your frame rate's been better than mine.
Sure, I could do that.
Somebody created an Elden Ring mod for Tekken. All your favorites are there. All the fingies and the forehands and the one eyes and the masks and all of them are there fighting in the Tekken engine, and it looks so good.
Wow, yeah.
Look at the pot boy. There she is. And it looks so good that Katsuhiro Hirata had to tweet about it. The creator of the Tekkens.
Yep.
Hirata was like, look, this is really well made, but you gotta stop.
Literally said, please stop it.
Like, please stop it, lol. You can't do this. People are going to think that it's a real Elden Ring fighting game. People are going to think that Elden Ring is coming to Tekken. I work at Bandai Namco. We run both. You got to stop. This looks too good.
That's genuinely so funny. And like, what an incredible flex. That person should have the screenshot of that tweet as like their Twitter banner photo for the rest of their life.
I love it so much. I would, if I was this guy, Ultra Boy, if I woke up, I'd be like, and I saw this tweet, I'd be like, there's nothing on the bucket list.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. The rest of my life is just downtime. I'm just chilling. This is amazing. But also, do it. Also, do it.
I hope that it doesn't become one of those stories that we have to update and we're like, they took the legal action. They did send them the cease and desist to take the thing down. Because I love just please stop it, lol. I just want to leave it at please stop it, lol.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I've done my job. I can't condone this because of the company I work for. I just say, hey, you shouldn't do that. But damn, is it good?
He says, people asked Harada what he meant. Do you mean stop making the mod? Stop tweeting him about it? And he said, you probably don't know, but there are surprisingly many people who think this is official and have misunderstanding about it and contact us. And now people, and it's like, I don't say anything for your personal enjoyment, but I want you to know that there are people in the community who make noise based on these misunderstandings. What he's saying is, please don't let these people harass me about this.
Please, people are bugging me about your mod.
Please don't.
I'm so tired.
Please, I don't want to answer any questions about this. Don't make me make this right now. It's harder than you think.
Well, in news that we accidentally skipped over when it was relevant at the time, I've got
Whoops.
one more. Game Pass, we were talking quite a bit about earlier. We were talking about the Nintendo Family Plan, and I put this in here going, I'll remember to bring this up at the time, and I didn't. Game Pass is reportedly working on a family plan. We don't have a ton of information on that, but I also think that could be such a game changer.
Dude, a Game Pass family plan?
That would own.
Oh my gosh, if you got the Nintendo plan and I got the Microsoft plan, that's the only way to keep these costs down.
It is.
And listen, chosen family is family. When Netflix says, hey, it looks like you've been sharing your password, you'd be like, chosen family is family. Found family is valid. How dare you?
Watched Failed Save on Friday. You would never question that.
You would never question that. How dare you?
So Windows Central quoted a source saying that Microsoft is moving ahead with an Xbox Game Pass family plan, which could be set to launch sometime this year.
I love
I find
it.
very, very interesting. At Windows Central, they also note there are plenty of questions still remaining. For example, will there be separate family plans on PC Game Pass and Xbox console? Will all exclusive Xbox Game Pass, or will it all be exclusive to Game Pass Ultimate? There's a lot of questions.
I would imagine, based on just like your Spotify and your Netflix plans and all that stuff, I would imagine it would have to be a top tier plan that you then add family members to.
Yes.
That's usually the way the pricing models for these things work.
Right. But if it cuts down on cost at all, that's great.
No, that's wonderful. But I think hoping for anything more than that is, listen, dare to dream.
I mean, Nintendo did it.
Nintendo did it, but Nintendo's never been on the internet before.
No one tell them.
Nintendo doesn't understand how much money there is on the internet.
No one tell them. I'm saving so much money.
They were like, how much is this? How much do you think this is
much
worth?
could a banana cost?
Like $50? Is that okay if we ask for $50? No, that's good. No, it's a little bit, but I'll pay it. I'll pay it. It's a little high, but I'll pay it.
Of course.
Zealous says they usually have domains though. It's true.
That is also very true.
They definitely own supermario.com, I'll tell you that much.
So those were the things we missed when they were relevant. Let's talk about a couple of things.
The last couple of things. Number one.
This is very strange. Why are we doing this?
I know we say this every time, but surely there's nothing left to reboot.
Not true. There's still The Crow.
Bill Skarsgård,
Of course, Bill Skarsgård.
your favorite spooky clown,
My favorite spooky clown.
is going to be the Crow in a reboot of The Crow. Love it. Rupert Sanders will be directing. He is the director of Snow White and the Huntsman and Ghost in the Shell.
They released it on April 1st. Did you make sure it wasn't a joke?
No, they gave it to the director of Ghost in the Shell.
Okay.
The Crow, of course, famous James O'Barr comic from the late 1980s, turned into a very famous movie in the mid 90s with Brandon Lee. It was at the time extremely popular.
Mm-hmm.
I think they made 3 sequels. Tried to make a TV series. The Crow was everywhere.
Yeah, the scandal is kind of the big thing that surrounds The Crow that I'm very surprised they would touch.
I don't mind a remake. One of the high points of this, okay, the director of Ghost in the Shell. Sure, let's take that. Let's put that over there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you got to make movies in the Hollywood studio system to get to where you want to go to make the movies you want to make. Who knows?
Also, I will say the director of Ghost in the Shell is directly the person who told Scarlett Johansson she could have that role and that it would be a good fit for her and that he wanted her to have it. We only ever blame Scarlett Johansson for that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a reminder that she was assured by this director that this was an okay thing for her to do and that she suited the role.
So, we're going to put that aside. Bill Skarsgård we like.
We love Bill Skarsgård, in theory.
And then we have Zach Balin, who surprisingly was the screenwriter for King Richard. So it's very interesting. Clearly somebody with screenwriting chops. I think it's very interesting. I mean, they've tried to bring back The Crow a lot of times. That's the thing. There have been so many Crow reboots that have almost happened.
Yeah, they
that
never
just
officially
didn't.
went into production.
You know, in addition to the 3 Crow movies and then the Crow TV show, Stephen Norrington, who did the original Blade movie, was originally supposed to make a new version of The Crow. Javier Gutierrez, who made Before the Fall, the guy Colin Hardy, the guy who directed The Nun,
Mhm.
was supposed to make a Crow reboot in 2017.
The Nun was unfortunately not good.
The
Nun had so much potential.
Jason Momoa was going to be the Crow in that version.
Do you think Jared Leto is absolutely furious he's not the Crow?
I mean, he sort of is.
That's the thing.
He sort of is.
I feel
don't-
like we already kind of got this bad reboot of the Crow.
Um,
But Skarsgård's very good.
he's very good.
No more Leto.
Scarlett, it's not. Ghost in the Shell was doing. The Crow is so. It's so 80s and 90s. The Crow.
Yes.
It really is.
It's one of those films you shouldn't try to touch.
I don't know.
I think there's an entire category of films that you shouldn't try to touch because it's not recreatable. And the thing that people love about it, that love The Crow, cannot be captured again. It's not like, oh, I just love the universe and I love the fucking story of The Crow. That's not what it is.
I keep saying, man, we just need to get into it. We need to get to a point as a culture where we are just as excited about remastering and re-releasing films into the theater as we are about remakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you like The Crow, I want you to be able to go to the movie theater and see The Crow. But go see The Crow.
Yeah,
You know,
it's still there.
It's still there. Like, it exists. You can watch The Crow. I don't know. I don't know.
Speaking of bad Crow reboots, Morbius did very well at the box office, even though it would seem that you're not allowed to laugh at it.
You're not allowed to. Nobody make fun of Morbius the living vampire. He's had a very hard life. Yeah. What else is out right now?
I just, look,
That's what I want to know.
I want to see it because I think it's a funny goof, but I don't want to pay to see a Jared Leto movie.
No.
That's my thing, is I'm not giving money to a Jared Leto movie. Fuck Jared Leto.
Look, we were in a situation with the Interesting Movie Club that a member of the Interesting Movie Club bought a bunch of seats and was
Right.
like, "Come on, let's go." And so I was
Yes.
like, "Sure, I'll go."
Absolutely understood. I understand people
I probably
seeing it.
would-
I just can't.
I probably would not have like bought my own ticket to Morbius.
So, I mean, like, look, and there's a lot of this happening, and there's a lot of talk of what celebrities are good and bad this week. But, yet we keep giving movies to Jared Leto and Mark Wahlberg.
Right?
Yikes, the white boys do be getting away with it, don't they?
Speaking of which, if you want to look, I was just wondering what what else is out where Morbius... Number one, Morbius opening at 40 mil is pretty good, but I don't think it's what Sony expected. But when I'm like, what is it up against right now? The Lost City, that Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock movie.
Yep.
Which, that... Like, no shade to anybody involved with that. I don't know anything about it, but it looks like the sort of thing that I definitely want to watch on Netflix.
Yeah. Speaking of Mark Wahlberg movies, there's Uncharted.
There's Uncharted right behind the Batman, which is staying strong at number 3.
Isn't Dog also Channing Tatum?
Dog is also Channing Tatum, yeah.
Oh, he's got 2 right now.
He's crushing it.
I've heard incredible things about Everything Everywhere All at Once, including just now in the chat from one of our mods, Queso.
I honestly felt a little guilty going to see Morbius before everything. I almost did a double feature yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I can't watch Morbius before I watch Everything Everywhere All at Once, can I?
Everyone go see that instead.
Yeah, go see that instead.
Speaking of white men getting away with it.
But I want to say Spider-Man No Way Home, still number 7.
Yeah. And it's not available in most theaters anymore.
And Jujutsu Kaisen holding strong at number 5, baby. Now, of course, this is post-pandemic release schedule, whatever. But let me tell you something.
Dog is Channing Tatum.
Between Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm really loving what's going on with these anime movie releases that used to be like, hey, weeb, come see this at midnight with 3 other people.
Exactly.
You get to watch it once if you're lucky. They're crushing. I'm loving this.
So go see that instead of the Jared Leto movie or the Mark Wahlberg movie. And now, as I was saying, unfortunately...
Morbius has a hobby.
Or not.
In the movie. He loves origami. He folds intricate origami animals and gives them to everybody. Go on.
White men getting away with things.
My favorite Woody Harrelson movie.
Always relevant. They gave Louis CK a fucking Grammy.
They gave Louis CK...
in the year of 2022.
Best comedy album at the fucking Grammys. Are we shocked? A little.
Yeah, actually.
A little. Even with the history of the Grammys being like, hey, this dude is like actively on probation for hitting people. Should we give him a Grammy? Yeah, let's give him a Grammy. This is the history of the Grammys, and yet somehow I am still surprised that they gave Louis CK the fucking Grammy.
The biggest fuck you to the Grammys. Just the biggest fuck you to the Grammys. They say that they're not interested in getting involved in any kind of personal life or social life matters when it comes to who they put forward, because anyone can submit to win a Grammy, and then the board essentially gets to vote on it. Fuck you to every person that voted. Fuck you to the Grammys board. Fuck you to the Grammys as a foundation. Fuck you to award shows.
The fact that
Fuck Louis CK.
The fact that your president will come out and make a statement like that saying, hey, you know, anybody can submit. We got to let anybody submit. And then if we let them submit, like whoever our jury votes on, like they vote on it. Like we got to let them do it. Like there's so much like, well, then who is in charge? Who is making sure you're not awarding
no one is
fame and notoriety to garbage people?
Clearly.
No one.
Clearly. Exactly. Thank you very much. Blade of Creation. Cancel culture only exists for already marginalized people. Cancel culture is not real. When people come out and they whine about being canceled, this is everyday fucking evidence that no one gets canceled.
There's no cancellation. This is all cancellation is for people like Louis CK, for old white men who are already successful in the industry. All cancel culture is the first act of their fucking new underdog story.
That's all it fucking is.
They do it every time. Like, he didn't go out and perform for over 9 months, which, by the way, let's remember, Louis CK, five corroborated stories publicly of sexual assault. That's the public ones who came forward.
And there's an important conversation to be had.
And he took a vacation for 9 months?
There's an important conversation to be had also about the difference between people who, for instance, get called out and publicly kind of rinsed for things that they've said, right? For doing something offensive on the internet, and people who commit crimes. There also has to be a difference in, okay, this person said something on the internet that we disagreed with. We're not going to disqualify them for that. There's a line there that I think that they should be, but okay. But these are crimes.
These are literal crimes.
These are crimes. This is a danger.
This man is a literal sex criminal. And they were like, but he's funny. You gotta give him that. A lot of other people are funny.
I will agree. We can instead shift a little bit of focus to Bo Burnham getting a Grammy.
Why didn't Bo Burnham got fucking...
Bo Burnham took something.
What did he take? He didn't get enough.
I didn't watch the Grammys because fuck the Grammys.
Bo Burnham, I remember he was up for something else, and it was at like the Emmys or something. Bo Burnham didn't get anything for comedy special.
Yeah.
And it's like, how did the person who made the comedy special that is like of this time, in this time, not get the thing?
He took the win for the best song written for visual media.
Okay. Should have gotten more.
Yeah. Why not fucking comedy album?
Why not comedy
album? What the fuck?
Look.
And you gave it to Louis CK. Fuck you, Grammys.
For what? For what are you trying? And here's the thing. When people do this, they're clearly trying to say something. And so when the head of the Grammys comes out and goes, oh, golly, no, none of us are trying to say anything. None of us are trying to make any statement.
You are saying something.
You are saying this is not a big deal, and he is forgiven, and he is allowed to be, he's part of your club, and he will always be part of your club.
And every time that a large corporation, a large organization makes a statement like that, it lets us know continually that we as women, as any kind of marginalized people, are not safe within those environments. You make our industry less safe every time that you do that because the men understand they can get away with it. You make the entire industry less safe when you recognize predators as special, special boys that deserve awards. Get fucked.
And like the amount of the language of healing and forgiveness that is going to be weaponized about this to, oh, but yeah, he didn't perform for a while and he really thought about it, and shouldn't we let people grow? Yeah, we should. He came back and immediately started making jokes about being canceled, about trans people.
Mm-hmm.
His new comedy, he came back even more bitter and horrible. If anything else, he got worse.
It only gets worse, everybody.
And so they're rewarding him for getting worse. Dope. And yet we don't get Gex Jr.
It's fucked, truly.
This man's winning awards. Gex Jr. can't even get released.
The things that Bo Burnham beat out were very impressive. Marvel was up for Agatha all along.
Yeah.
That's very impressive.
But here's
good
the
for
thing.
Bo.
You gotta give, and that's the thing is like, you gotta give him something. This was his year. He did the thing.
Yeah.
Like, inside was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And people who are not like, this is a cultural moment, why are you denying that? Because of weird politics and your need to pat sex criminals on the back and be like, welcome back, buddy. Welcome back to the sex crime club where we hand out sex crime statues.
Anyways, award shows are bullshit run by the bourgeoisie. They are not actually acting in any way that recognizes art and creativity or people that are titans of change or progress or significance in our industry. They are simply an old guys, white guy club.
I do want to know.
Special old white guys.
This is an interesting thing that I'd like to know, and this is not for the purpose of shading anybody or anything like that. I just genuinely want to know in terms of relevance. Did anybody watch the Grammys? Like, is that a thing that people do? I didn't watch the Oscars this year.
No, I'm not watching any award shows.
I don't watch award shows, but like, did anybody watch that stuff? I don't know. Everybody's saying no, pretty much. Yeah, I wonder who is this for?
If you do watch this later, you watch on the VOD, you can always drop this information in our Discord, or you can always comment it on YouTube if you're catching this on the YouTubes later after we're live. But that is all of the story that we have time for today. Thank you for joining us. We're so happy to be back. Thank you for starting your morning off with us. If it's your first time here, we do the show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific, and we hope that we will see you on Wednesday. Of course, we have a bunch of other very cool programming here on the channel. If you're not caught up on Failed Save yet, go catch up quick. There's many spoilers abound everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
They do be talking, and there is some very special time for our characters in this last episode, is all I will say.
Yeah.
That's on Fridays
It was
at
very
7
sweet
p.m.
and cool
Pacific.
and good, and all it was sweet and cool and good.
It was sweet and cool and good. Hey, we had a special goal that unlocked a nice little adventure between Chirp and Dazzle.
Yeah, it's just sweet and cool and good. That's all it was all the way through. There's nothing to worry about. Watch that. And in addition to that, watch Bane's Break.
That is so true. Bane's Break Episode 3 premieres tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific. If you haven't caught up yet, that gives you a little bit of time to do so. It's our brand new D&D 5e adventure that has a lot of heart to it. And I think there's some very interesting character things that are about to start happening tomorrow.
I forget where it is. We've been gone for a week, and I
What do you
forget
want
where
to know?
it is.
You want the activity feed?
Yeah, I want the activity. There
Yeah,
we
of
go.
course you do. That
Yeah.
makes sense. We're going to go through and we're going to thank everybody that supported us on the channel today. But first, Anthony, where can they find you on the internet when you're not here?
Oh, my stars and garters. You can usually find me being ejected from screenings of Morbius.
True.
But other than that, you can find me everywhere on the internet at a Carboni, except for here on Twitch, where I'm at Anthony Carboni. Twitch, you cowards, it's mine. Give it back to me. Dagger knows my closing patter, and so he's getting out of bed and getting ready to go outside. You can also catch my science comedy podcast with Jeff Kanata. It's called We Have Concerns. It's very good and fun and cool if you like learning and fun and laughing. That's at wehaveconcerns.com. Saige, where are you? What are you doing?
You can find me everywhere on the internet at Not Saige. Later today, I am celebrating my 1-year partner anniversary on Twitch, so I will be doing a stream tonight on my channel. I usually stream on Mondays, but we got celebrations to do, and I have a thing to announce there that is special and exciting, so come and see me later. I'll be going live at about 5 o'clock.
You
I'll
got
keep
your
updated.
pilot's license.
Spoil it. Anyways, you can also find me here on this channel all the time and a bunch of other places, but supporting here on this channel is maybe my favorite. That's pretty cool of you. Let's thank everybody that makes this channel possible, shall we?
Sure. Thank you, Flatlander, for the $10 saying donation to help ensure hosts don't starve. Yes, that's good. I like that instruction manual language on that because that's really what it's for.
It is.
Demo Nacho with the resub for 4 months. Thank you. That's also a Prime sub, taking money out of the Beezy's pockets. We love that. Acius80 with also a resub for Prime for 4 months. Thank you. Saying best morning show in the biz. Baby, only morning show in the biz. Name another one. There isn't any. Zamino with the $25 tip saying new month, new sugar breakfast. New month, new sugar breakfast, new me, baby.
So true.
So true. Dr. Viking 95, thank you for the subscription. Alonzo subscribing for 19 months. Alonzo, you do not have to do that. You are a mod, and we appreciate everything you do. Everybody, please thank the mods in chat. They do wonderful, wonderful things for us. Callan Roar with the 1,200 bits saying, Anthony, I must know, did they use the word vampire in Morbius? Yes, but sparingly. I only heard it for the time that I was in there, I only heard it as vampire bat.
Right,
I don't
not
think
about Morbius.
I don't know if they ever said it about Morbius, as I was asked to leave. Kaylin Roar also resubbed for 11 months, saying 11 months of awesome. Thank you so much for your continued support. We really appreciate it. Lawrence with the Prime sub for 5 months. Ramasak with the resub for 3 months, saying, Saige, your shirts are always my fave.
Thank you. It says you have to tell me if you're a cop, and then if I pull it out a little, it says once again, if you are a cop, you have to tell me.
There you guys.
I hide those secrets.
Danny Boy's calling pipes, gifting a sub. Thank you so much. David, the Dargan zine writer, with the resub for 13 months. That's what we call a Pixel Circus year, baby. Danny Boy's calling pipes with another gift sub. 2 more gift subs. Thank you so much. ZTruck4440 with the resub for 3 months, saying 3 months. Woot, woot to you as well. Tyler Eichenberg with the resub for 5 months, saying, my Morbius. Morbius?
Morbius.
Writing M with the resub for 16 months. Thank you so much for your continued support. That is such a huge chunk of time. Eternal Space Girl just hit a Pixel Circus year, 13 months of subscribing. DeBearjew with the subscription for 19 months, saying that's a lot of months, and baby, you ain't wrong. Ariel the Third with the tier 1 sub for 11 months, saying closing in on a Pixel Circus year of being too early. You're so close to the finish line, and we thank you. We thank you for doing it. Also, at the very last minute there, Zealous with the Prime sub for 8 months. Thank you so
Very
much.
cool of you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourselves, friends, and we will see you on Wednesday.
Bye, BBs.